Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and so tomorrow we're going to be getting the release of the 5-star select costume Scout A, which is going to be featuring 9 special costume sync pairs from the, which I'm assuming, right, from the initial debut of costume sync pairs from Costume Diantha and Guzma and all them, up to now with Brysonman and Costume Barry and all that stuff. And then we're going to be getting B the next day afterwards, and we don't know anyone who's going to be in the Scout Battalion besides the first 3 here, and we know it's very likely that Rosa will be in Scout B. But I have made a bit of an assumption just because all of these are based on release date, it seems. Like, this Scout has Brysonman, Barry, and Adaman, all of which were the first to release in their respective duos. Brysonman released first alongside Belela, Barry released before Seline, and then Adaman released before Eriott. So, I've made the assumption here. So I made the assumption here that this is going to be including probably Barry, Adaman, Brysonman, obviously, Zenia, Costume Steven, Costume Ingo, Costume Lily, Costume Guzma, and Costume Diantha. I'm assuming 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, right? So yeah, and then the other one will include Hilda, Jasmine, Sonia, Emmett, Rosa, Shauna, Lyra, Eriott, Seline, and then Belela, right? I know that was kind of hard to go over, but that's my assumption, right? That's mostly my assumption when it comes to these, and honestly, I don't think it's really worth discussing most of these older characters. I think it's... I guess I could put all of these in one video, so I guess we could do that, honestly. We may as well, right? May as well just put both these scouts in one video, because there's not really a massive, I don't think there's a massive reason to really look at all of them separately. And I know Belela and Brysonman is not up here, but I just typed in costume. It's not my fault they're not named costume, okay? Anyway, whatever. I think when it comes to options to pick, the only real ones worth going for are the recent ones, like Belela, Brysonman, Seline, Barry, Eriott, and Adaman are your best choices. Steven has been very good for enhancing physical characters as well as being good in the damage challenge. Zenia's got a very good dark nuke. She's a very good dark character. She counters the Giovanni Ultimate battle, right? Pretty much built for it alongside Akari. We do also have Costume Lyra here, who is a ground rebuff applier. I'm not going to say she's the best partner for Arc Suit Cynthia, but like if you are trying to get a decent enough partner, Lyra does work relatively well. So, I mean, she can be good for that role. Sean is a stat stealing support, mostly just kind of general usage on top of that. I mean, she's got crit buffs, potions, and then stat stealing. That's about, or stat debuffing / stat stealing. That's about what I've noticed. Costume Steven again with his enhancement. Rosa is a grass nuker, very replaceable. She's a debuffing grass nuker with potions. Obviously, you know that she's kind of unique in that role, but pretty much replaceable for any other grass nuking character, right? You know, like Signature Lyra, for example. Ingo and Emmett, they are built for each other. They are pretty much the bug version of Alder and Viola. And I would say worse, too, just being honest. Emmett's a physical bug attacker. You know, Barry obviously already takes that role, being a striker, and Barry is pretty much better at the job. I think Emmett's nuke... Actually, is Emmett's nuke better? I mean, Barry's got Haymaker... Oh, no, Harry, what? Harry! Barry's got 190% multipliers, and then there's the Techie X roll, right? Where Emmett, I think he's got Tough Sync, Brain Sync, and then Rising Tide here, so it's just 170% multipliers, on top of having a 325% nuke, and about the same offenses. So Barry's at least got a similar nuke, but then he's got the Spiral Megahorn for damage, which is pretty crazy. Ingo sets Bug Zone, probably considered to be the worst zone setter, other than like the free ones. Most limited zone setter, I guess. He's got defense debuffs with quick attack, trap with infestation, bug zone, team evasion and accuracy buffs, as well as team speed buffs with team viral haste, defense debuffs with defense crush here, and that's pretty much all he's got going at 1 out of 5. At 3 out of 5, he does get a sync nuke with blind spot, relentless, and then of course the sync nodes. You know, it's not bad, and also trap. You know, 300% in nuking multipliers is not bad at all. You do got to consider, I mean, he still has to buff his stats because he does not have a way to do that. Like, he's got mad strength. Mad strength for attack buffing is crazy. That's funny. And then like follow through on quick attack for critical hit next. I mean, Sure, man. That's how he gets his crit next. Like, his self-sufficiency is pretty bad when it comes to buffing his offensive stats, which isn't that big of a deal when we got supports like Arc Suit Steven nowadays. But really, it's just not really too much worth making him work. Just bring Barry and then, like, Cygnus Suit Hilbert or something. Or just any other enhancer that's not a, inferior Bug Zone setter that can't do damage in his own. Like, a setup of Barry and Emmett's going to do more than a setup of Barry and Ingo or Emmett and Ingo. Like, that's just, double strike is just better, frankly. Sonia, a very solid grass damage dealer. She's got, of course, power with 200 plus power, with a lot of multipliers like Furious Brawn, Charging Sun, and Insult to Injury. It is counteracted immensely by the fact that her offensive stat is making Anniversary Steven look good. I'm kidding. I don't think Anniversary Steven offenses actually get up to that number, but, like, it's a pretty low offensive number for, like, max investment into her. But I mean, 211 power is still nice. She's got 90% total multipliers here, plus she's got power flux and sync power flux and all of that as well. Full self-sufficiency with X attack and her train move buffing crit. She's got a sync nuke as well with Solar Flare, Locked on Sync, and Haymaker, so she does have a good nuke there too. But again, mostly replaceable by, again, any other modern grass character, whether that be a nuker or a DPS-oriented unit or whatever, right? Costume Lily, a pretty good sustain support, honestly, but again, mostly just replaceable by any modern sustainable support, I would say. She's got flinches, which are nice, potions, defensive buffs with X special defense all, special attack buffs on her trainer move, which also does apply random effects. I do not remember those effects off the top of my head, but I know there is a, like, either 1% chance or 2% chance or something of her setting Ghost Zone. Yeah, I'm not kidding, Ghost Zone. This is back when that actually, like, meant something. Well, Ghost Zone still means something now, but, like, it's obviously more distributed. Kind of, actually. Honestly, not really. Well, no, we got Summer Gardenia, right, so never mind, I take that back. Definitely more distributed now. Focus group for ally crit buffs, team fist bump for ally healing, though it's only a 20% chance, crazy. And then team trash take 9 for a guaranteed heal, similar to that again, Arc Suit Steven, right? I love trash tank, despite the fact that it kind of screws over quad queuing. Anyway. She's got better special attack buffs with her train move all ramped up, as well as train with NPR, propulsion for sync countdown, barricade buddies on X special defense all, potions, more potion stuff down here, static clean for paralysis, and just a few other things. Just overall good general supportive ability with the flinches, potions, defensive buffs, and minor offensive buffs, and just overall solid sustainability. Not a bad support for sure, just pretty replaceable by any other modern support that can kind of do similar things, or just, streamlines a bit, is better in a certain area, like Chase with his very, very good special enhancement, or Rosa with her similarly good offensive enhancement in general, and obviously gets sustained with her own potions and all that stuff. Costume Jasmine, similar-ish case to Lily, though I would say Jasmine's sadly probably worse. She directly enhances special attacks with crit buffs and special attack buffs via all ramped up in her trainer move, or sorry, group morale boost, not all ramped up, close enough, honestly, because she does have all ramped up on the trainer move here as well in the grid. But she does also debuff special defense with Absorb Mind Games, as well as Flash Cannon Honor Roll, though do consider the gauge there. That's another thing, is that she also does not buff gauge. She's got Catalyst, right, but that's not really too much to consider in any real modern content, other than like the Legendary Gauntlet, I would say. Extra Gen All for healing is solid, right, and that's not too bad. But again, there's a lot of characters nowadays that can do this, but can do so much more than what Jasmine can, sadly. And I do love this character. Costume Jasmine's one of my favorite characters in the game still, but I do gotta say that her, she's definitely aged. Like, she's more on the side of buffing stats, like special defense, special attack, crit, applying regeneration, and special defense debuffs, than other enhancements like, super effective up next, or special moves or physical moves up next, or anything, or even like better healing like potions, or just team fist bump, which I think she does have. No, she's got team trash tank, right? But whatever, it's not that big of a deal, honestly, and she's pretty old. Guzma, this guy is kind of fun. He functions off of getting physical moves next every time he misses. He's got a solid offensive stat with over 400 physical attack, Dynamic Punch being 237 power. Remember, we got Chuck now, right? So they do kind of share a similar gimmick. Though he gets physical moves next whenever he misses, Chuck just consistently lands Dynamic Punch. So there's a pretty big difference there. Pretty stark contrast. He increases physical moves next every time his move misses, so you can get yourself up to like a +6, +9, even up to +10 physical moves next boosted Dynamic Punch, and it can hit pretty damn hard, right? But also consider you're That's like once every sync cycle, if that. But just keep all that in mind. And of course, it's a 50% chance. So yeah, he does have extra hit to make sure his attack can land, so you can build around that. Hammer arm for a more consistent DPS option. 148 power, not too shabby. And then his training move, which raising his attack by 6 and crit by 3, and all of that is not bad for self-sufficiency purposes. Then he's got like Fuzzy Strike and Haymaker for a sync nuke multiplier, and Tenacity 1 as well for physical moves next buffs. Again, every time his attack move misses. Confusion Synergy for Dynamic Punch for an actual multiplier, and a few other things, right? So he pretty much just relies on physical moves next buffs by missing, which is mostly made up for by the fact that you can actually run a different DPS character that is more consistent in doing their job. I.e., Costume Diantha, who is still one of the best fighting nukers in the game. Inertia, Brute Wits, and innate, whatever the hell you call it, Towering Force. Not bad at all. She's got Secret Sword for a damaging option as well, with Tough Cookie as a multiplier. 474, let's see, 496 special attacks, nearly 500 special attack. Works relatively well with Neo Champion Hop as well as Aura Cynthia. She's able to debuff enemy defense, special defense, and speed every time she attacks them, and raise her the same stats for herself, which is why all of her multipliers are based on that. She's got special attack and crit buffs on her trainer move for great self-sufficiency, move gauge boost for gauge refresh and whatnot, and the fact that she is the first costume character and is probably outaged a lot of them. Like, definitely outaged Guzma, definitely outaged Hilda, Sonya as well, right? In terms of like damage dealing characters or nuking characters, the fact that Diantha has aged as well as she has is honestly pretty insane to me. But I mean, yeah, she is legitimately good. Like, I do fully believe so. And then there's Hilda here. I mean, she's a rock type damage dealer, easily replaceable for the most part. Her main focus on damage is Diamond Storm, which is 195 power here, even lower than that, 180 power pretty much, with ramming speed as a multiplier. It's an AoE move, so you do have to deal with that as well, off of a 490 some offensive stat here. She does also have Tough Cookie, so she does have 2 multipliers. That is a lot better, definitely. And Fuel Economy for gauge efficiency when Mega evolved, because otherwise it's a 4 gauge move. She does work pretty well with Signa Suit Diantha. She sets Rock Zone, all that good stuff. But for the most part, I think she has aged pretty poorly, especially with the existence of just far better Rock Strikers that don't require as much maintenance, because she's not really the fastest character in the world. She does have, again, speed-related multipliers, though she doesn't... Actually, does she have, like, Fast Track? No, she doesn't. She doesn't even have a way to buff her speed. No, right here, okay. +2 speed. Cool. +2 speed, we love to see it. And I guess Fast Track, but you're really not ever going to be running that at all. There's also Towering Force, Double Down, some Sync Nuke multipliers, but really nothing too crazy to power up her Sync move. Mostly relying on her DPS damage, which is Split Target, and that's probably the worst thing about her. But still, again, not really a bad character outright, but definitely has seen a lot of age, like pretty much all of these. Anyone past Rosa, I would say, is really worth selecting. Rosa herself, again, she's a debuff-related nuker. She's able to debuff special defense, evasion, and I think special attack. Am I wrong there? I think. No, yeah, Shutting Snarl, so she's able to deal special attack as well. She's got potions for healing, great self-sufficiency, and also, again, a good grass nuke with easy target devastation, and the innate Smarty Pants, though it is working off of not really a low special attack stat, but, lower amount of special attack than a lot of other higher, better, I guess, characters. Again, going to Costume Steven, a character that I do think is worth selecting. He is basically a support as a tech. He's able to debuff enemy attack, defense, and speed by 2 with 3 uses of his Buddy move, also applying no evasion and restrain. So a status change, and of course, the ability to not miss. Super effective next for giving allies super effective next, and then a training move which gives allies +3 physical moves next, which is great for maxing out their physical moves next, which can be good for, of course, the damage challenge, but also trying to really consistently raise ally damage in a lot of shorter battles specifically, but does work in longer battles as well, i.e. the triple Steven team versus Argenta was pretty funny for me. Other things like lowering enemy type weakness rebuff on his first use of Tackle. That's not bad, right? You get the enemy weakness rebuff that does power up allies who are on type, obviously. He's got speed buffs whenever attacking enemies with no evasion, so you do have team gauge management. He does also have a nuke with innate Relentless and then restraining sync of 9 in the grid on top of a 400 and pretty much 500, over 500 base attack stat with full investment. So he's definitely not bad for that either. He could do some good nuking damage with like Larry or Palmer as a partner. So very good enhancer, and also pretty solid nuke. Again, Shauna, we've already gone over. Zenia, very, very good dark nuker. She's got very high offensive stat, 486 attack. Her buddy move, which steals ally stats and raises hers by the same amount. And on top of that, she has 2 nodes of Rising Tide, with one being the innate multiplier, and then Rising Tide again at 3 out of 5. Unbuff foe sync up 9. That's a lot of multipliers. 310% total multipliers for just having her stats be 18 or higher, and then unbuff foe sync up 9 here for whenever the enemies have no stat buffs, which again, she does also apply the no stat increase effect on the opponent's field of play when using her buddy move and stealing the enemy stats, so that will prevent them from raising their stats again. Again, point being is that she was really made for the Giovanni Ultimate battle, where she's able to apply is it a field effect? I guess it is. The Noah stat increase effect on the enemy. I'm pretty sure, yeah, it's a field effect. And of course, she's able to steal those stats and do some good damage. So that was the Giovanni Ultimate battle really does show like what Zenia is able to do for the most part. She's also got dark rebuff on the enemy here whenever her trainer uses a move. So we got the evasion buffs from the trainer move and crit buffs, and X attack all for team attack buffs, and obviously her own attack buffs. And of course, she again does get the dark rebuff there, so an extra 30% multiplier on top of that, which is awesome, right? Then in the grid, again, she's got buff block extension for the no stat increase effect to be extended, which can be helpful for whatever battle you do, honestly. I've made good use of this against Moltres. It's good against the Giovanni battle, and a few other places, right? And then other things like 70% chance to flinch against enemies who have no stat increases, which is really good. And then insult to injury for a defense debuffing multiplier based on defense debuffing there too. Went over Lyra. Adaman, a very strong ground damage dealer. Remember the battle versus Palmer, right? that was really fun. Adaman can work off of buffing his damage on his headlong rush, which relies on him pretty much having lower HP. It's got 220 minimum power. The biggest problem with Adaman here is his lower offensive stat, which is still not bad, but again, it is lower than a lot of other striker characters. But again, he mostly does make up for it. 220 base power move here, has an innate multiplier of having lower HP. He's able to run Gritty as a lucky skill if you want to just do DPS damage with him. He's got Gritty as a multiplier in the grid. Physical moves next when attacking burned enemies, so he's got consistent boost of physical moves next. He's able to do physical moves next and sync acceleration whenever his HP drops to 30% or below. Sorry, 33% or below each battle, so you do get some sync countdown and some physical moves next with that. Again, I did make good use of that versus Palmer with the Cynthia, was it 3 out of 5 or 1 out of 5? I don't remember. I think it was 3 out of 5 showcase there, so if you want to go watch that, you know, that's pretty funny. He's got potions for healing, attack, and crit buffs with his trainer move, also applying burn. He is, again, working really well off of being burned, which does power up his sync move, also does power up his moves. I forget exactly what multiplier this is. It's probably in here somewhere. Information and help, yeah. Let's go ahead and look, I guess, just to make 100% sure. Yeah, okay, so Burning Dance increases move power by 50%, so he's got a 50% multiplier for his 220 base power move here, on top of the multipliers he gets in the grid, and up to, I think, like 200 and some multipliers for a sync nuke, with Wounded Sync up 9, Haymaker, and then Status Condition Sync move up 9 here as well. That is 280% in total sync nuke multipliers. So, on top of having the support EX roll, Adam can also apply a sync buff, an extra sync buff on top of that. So, very, very strong ground damage dealer. Works very, very well with the existence of Arc Suit Cynthia. Very strong team, of course, you know, both being ground type and also being able to work with, like, a maybe Sinnoh support like Aura Cynthia, who can apply the Sinnoh Master Passive there, too. Very, very strong team buffs. Love that. Costume Eriott, one of the strongest strikers in the game. She's got one of the best strike sync nukes with her very, very strong special attack stat, 547 here. The innate multiplier of Blind Spot in her passive skills, as well as also having Pecking Order, relying on attack debuffs. This, combined with the 500, pretty much 500 base power sync move here, is one of the best strike sync nukes in the game. Yeah, it's like number 2, 3, probably not. I don't know how the update has changed since Eriott's release, but she's at least like top 5 striker sync nukes in the game. It's pretty crazy. She's also got very good consistent damage with Bitter Mouse, a 200 base power move with Stationary Target, Mind Boggler, and special moves up next, twice, by the way. She gets special moves next at a 50% chance when attacking the enemy, and also another 50% chance of it proccing as well, so you will be getting a lot of buffs for this 200 base power move. She's also got Mystifying Bitter Malice, which is a 240 base power move that has doubled damage whenever attacking enemies that are affected by a status change or a status condition, which she can set up enemies with attack trap here, so she's able to do that. And it also lowers enemy attack by 4 and makes the enemy flinch, and this has 2 uses. So 2 uses of these pretty much nuclear bomb buddy moves, which is obviously really good. Crit maxing with Dire Hit All Plus, and also special attack and evasion buffs by +4 for being able to max out blinds, or, well, not max out, but being able to buff blind spot by a very significant amount, and also, again, buffer special attack there too. Then you do have Trainer Move Ramp Up and NPR in the grid if you do want to go for maxing her special attack and evasion just by herself. If you don't want to run a support that can do that, you can do that as well. So overall, very, very strong Ghost Nuker, one of the best strikes in the game, in my opinion. Barry, probably the best bug strike in the game himself. He's got 460 in the offense here with full investment. Even more than that when he Mega Evolves and has level 50. Good lord, 575 is nuts. He's got Pin Missile, which on its own is not a great move, but he does have Punishing Strike in the grid for defense debuffs, and No Quarter as well when Mega Evolves, so he's able to at least land that move and consistently have all 5 hits of it, which is great. And then he's got Spiral Mega Horn, which is a 330 base power move, which is effectively able to alternate every turn because it's deactivated when it's used, but it is activated again whenever he uses a move that lands a total of 5 times. Yeah, the user's attack moves. So, Pin Missile, of course, being able to hit 5 times guaranteed because of No Quarter, meaning you'll be able to alternate between the usage of Pin Missile and the usage of Mega Horn, which, again, 330 power whenever, and it does not have split damage as well. That's really, really strong, especially with a 30% multiplier of ramming speed, defense debuffs with Punishing Strike, it can't miss, whatever, right? It's all good stuff. He's also got his Trainer move here, raising his attack by 2, crit by 3, and applies Endurance. He also does get +2 attack on entry, as well as +2 speed, and when he Mega Evolves, that should proc again, so he'll be able to max out his attack and get +4 speed from just that, and that's obviously on its own really good too. And again, he's got Haymaker and Speedster Sync 9, so he's got very good multipliers for a Sync Nuke, making it not at all detrimental that he does have the Mega Sync debuff, because he does have the Tech EX roll as well, so he's going to be effectively working at similar efficiency to most modern strikers in terms of his Sync Nuke. So very, very strong bug striker. Obviously, having a lot of bug strikers is good. We do have special costume Seline. Very strong Steel Zone setter. She's more consistent, at least with Steel Zone, than Marnie, because she does have she's a field roll character. She does have Steel Zone extension in the grid at a 30% extension here, on top of Steel Zone NPR. So that's a lot of opportunities to be able to set Steel Zone. She's got guaranteed, he has to say, guaranteed flinches when attacking with her Metallic Bullet Punch buddy move, which is activated whenever the field of play is in Steel Zone, and it also restores MP to the move every time she uses it while Scizor is Mega Evolved, because it is a Mega Sync pair, of course, so that is also really, really strong. Not the greatest power, right? 110 is not amazing, but the flinch is the big part, and also, again, the being able to work under Steel Zone, all that stuff, it's not bad at all. She's able to buff team defenses with the Team Offensive Defense 9 here, Metallic Acceleration for Team Gauge Management, and then Metallic Power 5 for a 50% DPS multiplier for her move, mostly just Bullet Punch, not really Metal Claw, which of course is good for powering up the move when it does have, lower base power. Other than that, in the grid, she does have Metallic Surge, which is the 90% multiplier for having Steel Zone up, and then as well as having Haymaker. Under the Striker EX roll 2, she will be able to do an AoE Sync Nuke, so being able to work under that is also very good, because she does have that Mega Sync debuff, so being able to, kind of mitigate that a little bit more is definitely really good to have. Then a few other things like Defense Crush 9 for defensive debuffs, Star 1 for some sync acceleration, and a few other things, just all work in tandem to make her a pretty damn strong Steel Zone setter and Steel buffer, right? Especially under the fact that we now have Arc Suit Steven, who benefits from her because he can actually do a little bit of damage, and she benefits from him from the Steel rebuff and the enhancement and all that good stuff that he's able to do. And then finally, we have our 2 last special costume characters, Belela and Brysonman. Belela is a very strong defensive support. I'm not going to say she's like the best in the game or whatever, but she's very, very, very bulky. She's able to raise ally defenses by 4 with one use of her trainer move. She's able to apply critical hit defense when using the critical shield move, which also applies special and physical damage reduction whenever she uses it. So you do not only get that extra crit defense, you do get the physical and special damage reduction, which is not going to be able to be hit through by enemy crits because, again, that shield is up. She's also able to apply free moves next to herself when her attack move is successful when she is attacking in a field that is only on the eye field of play. Obviously, the big intent is, you know, the crit shield, the special damage reduction, and the physical damage reduction. She'll be getting infinite free moves next out of that, and also things like circles apply to that same concept as well. And then she's got her Rules of Enchanted Land passive, which raises her defenses by 20% when these same field effects are activated, and it also extends the duration of critical hit defense when applied to the ally field of play, so you've got a longer amount of time before you have to reset up that critical hit defense, and that's very nice, obviously. The 20% buff alone on her defenses already sends her, I believe, over 400 in the defensive stats, and again, having +4 defenses on top of that, as well as physical and special damage reduction, makes her a very, very good team bulk support, on top of the flinches with Zen Headbutt and the potions here as well for team sustainability. I do believe she also has, she has Aggravation 1 as a special Lucky Skill cookie, which is sadly no longer obtainable until the event does come back, but it's still, if you do manage to somehow have it, you just never pulled Belela, you can run that with Aggravation 1 in the grid on Zen Headbutt, and you've got a 60% flinch chance there to work with, on top of, again, all of the other defensive enhancement that she has. She has Persisting Shield and Persisting Barrier with Investment, which is extending the damage reduction shields as well, since she already extends the critical hit defense shield. Having the extension on those regular shields is good as well. Trinity with Critical Command here for buffing ally crit, if you do want to go for like Trinity with NPR and kind of fish for that. Actually, does she? No, she doesn't even have Trinity with NPR. What am I talking about? Because of course she doesn't. That's funny, honestly. Whatever, you can get +1 crit here, that's fine. I mean, it works well enough. And then, of course, we do also have the potion stuff here too, which is, you know, good enough. And critical shield NPR 1 for some reason. I don't know why they thought it'd be that overpowered to have, but sure. Just NPR 1 on this, I guess. Anyway, whatever. The potion stuff's the big thing, and of course the shield extension and like, I guess, toughen up and tighten up, and first aid 4 is also good. Also, she's able to buff ally offenses with beef up and team special attack buffs as well, so she's a good defensive support with some minor offensive enhancement via the team beef up and the special attack buffs and the +1 crit. So very, very solid there too. And then finally we've got Brysonman, the ultimate dark. I'm not gonna say ultimate, not really, but he's a good dark enhancer. He kind of works similarly, I guess, to Summer End, where he's got Night Days and whatnot, can do damage with that. But unlike Summer End, he's more based on team enhancement than being able to do damage himself. He's able to debuff enemy special attack and special defense with his Fake Tears Buddy move, which also lowers enemy dark rebuff, and it hits all enemies. So -2 dark rebuff, -4 special defense when attacking, using the Fake Tears. Very, very good for like Champion Marnie as a special attacker, and of course even physical attackers like Akari and Costume Zenia benefit a lot from just the rebuff, and I guess in Zenia's case the debuffs also help her, so that is cool. He's got Guard Spec for stat reduction defense. He's got his trainer move buffing his special attack by 4 and crit by 2, and applying gauge acceleration 2 there. He's able to also lower enemy stats by ×2 when using his sync move on the enemy, so if you want to get as many debuffs as possible, he uses his sync move, it will double enemy stat debuffs, and that is also very strong there. He's got Honor Roll 2 for guaranteed accuracy debuffs on Night Days, and also free moves next when attacking enemies that have a lowered type rebuff. So he's very good in that front too. Discombobulate as a free lucky skill, so I mean if you need faster accuracy debuffs, you can do that too, if you just opt to. And then in the grid, he gains things like Satisfied Snicker for better special attack debuffs, Overpower for a multiplier on his damage dealing move, Obscure Sync 5, the Sync Nose, Mind Boggler, Sync Thinker, and just a few other things that are obviously good for enhancing his damage and enhancing his debuff properties, which he's obviously, you know, really excelling at. That enhancement of dark characters with the special defense debuffs and dark rebuff is really what he's focused on, but of course he can do damage himself with Night Days and his Sync move, which is having the Striker EX roll. He is mostly like a striker-based sync more so than tech, but still, you know, that's not bad at all, again, with his other enhancement abilities and all that he has. So overall, very, very strong character for being able to enhance dark types, and overall being good himself, just, you know, at the role. As for who's the best to select, I mean, pretty much, again, anyone after Costume Rosa's got a lot of value, I'd say, besides, like, Lyra and Shauna. Adaman's, you know, really, really good with Arcsuit Cynthia. I've got a major buff from her. Eriott's got one of the best strike nukes in the game. Barry applies the help to the bug type that it really needs. He's very good for that. Seline works very well with the new Arcsuit Steven. Very strong steel type, steel zone setter as well. Belela is a very, very strong defensive support character, even, you know, still. She's got probably pretty much uncompeted team defensive bulk, I would say. Just the fact that it is not, you know, she doesn't have, like, as much consistency in it because of the lack of NPR and the lack of anything besides the extension for the most part. I mean, of course, she does have the NPR 1, but if you're fishing for that, go win the lottery. It's not that bad, but you get my point, right? Anyway, whatever. I mean, Costume Zenia's got a great nuke. Steven's got a great team enhancement. Brysonman's got the rebuff and the debuff. They're all good, frankly. As for who's the best with minimum investment, I want to say Adaman, but I could definitely be wrong about that. Eriott's got good DPS, just at 1 out of 5 as well, but she does still really appreciate dupes. Brysonman's debuff mostly stay the same, and also Costume Steven stays pretty much the same in terms of, like, his team enhancement ability. So honestly, in terms of low investment, maybe Steven and Bryson are, like, some of your best picks. But other than that, like, Adaman and Eriott are still really solid at 1 out of 5. But for the most part, I'd say if you're going to be doing the Select Scout, I would recommend probably be willing to at least invest some into these characters, because they are legitimately good with investment. Again, Adaman's got very good enhancement from his investment. Eriott again becomes one of the best strikers in the game with her investment. Like, one of them, not like champion red or whatever, but like still one of, like, probably top 10 strikers. And again, top 5 strikers just sink nukes outright. So hey, just a lot to consider there when making your selection. So yeah, let me know who you're gonna be selecting down in the comments below. Let me know if you're excited, I guess, or whatever. I don't know who I'm gonna select, honestly. I'm not missing a lot of costume characters. I may just straight up pick Bryson and Belela. The only ones that I'm missing as of recent is Barry. I've got Seline, Eriott, Adaman, Lyra, Zenia, Shauna, Steven, Rosa, Ingo, Emmett, Sonia. Wait, I have all of them. I have literally all of them besides Barry, Bryson. Oh wow, I didn't even know that myself. I didn't think about it. Cool. I guess I know who I'm selecting. Bryson and Belela. And then Barry just gets left to sit in the mud. Sorry, Barry. Not intentional. Anyway, yeah, whatever. I'll see you all later. Hope you all enjoyed. This video's been way too long. How long is this video already? Yeah, 30 minutes, actually. That's not too bad. That's definitely better than the tech video, but whatever, again. I'll see you all later. Hope you all enjoyed. Good luck on your summons. Good luck on your skipping. Peace.